What is B.I.T.E music?
So B.I.T.E for us is a company that I made, started in like maybe 2012, 2011. But it's called Born Intelligent to Enlighten.
Say it one more time.
Born Intelligent to Enlighten.
Okay.
So basically, on the premise of Born Intelligent to Enlighten, what we just do is that whether it's music, whether it's art, or what we do, we feel like God gave us a blessing or enlightenment in order to give this to people, and we have to be able to reach one and teach one. So we just try to do our best, whether it's us and our music and our label or us and our community, trying to really make that record and make it that enlightenment and that gets that intelligence for everybody. So
yeah. And like basically like passing on that information just so like if someone needs to know how to do something, they can learn it here, and then they can take it whatever paths of life that they go through and be able to support themselves through the education or the enlightenment of whatever we had going on here.
So how do you guys know each other?
Well, I came to CFC 2016, and so one of my good friends' roommate knew him, and then so we all just ended up going to his house, and then we everybody was always in there making music, watching TV, like doing something. It was just a big group of people interested in each other and whatever we were doing, and so that's how I got to know him. And then he needed a roommate, I needed a place to stay, so you know how that goes.
So and then like pretty much on my side, like I just moved. I went to Citadel first, which is like a military college down here, which you probably know. And then I went to College of Charleston, so like my first year, moved in North Charleston and stuff like that, and I met Chris. Just because like the community here is great, you know. So like I took time to be quiet and try to learn everything around me, and then I met Chris during some times at our house. So we ended up, like I said, like we ended up needing a roommate. We got evicted. I got evicted in my crib just over some bad music stuff. But a story short, you know, we ended up living in a crib, living in a car together, doing all this stuff together to the point where it just made us closer, and that's how we are here today.
Yeah, it feels a lot longer than it actually is. It's only been like
a year.
We've known each other for 2 years, but we've only been like a year and a half. Yeah, it's only been going on for like a year and a half. So it feels a lot longer though. But I guess that comes with getting to know somebody too. It always feels longer than it actually is.
Like for you, just like what got you started, and like what made you open up to start, you know, whether it's A. Collins or just necessarily Black Ruby?
What got me started was, it's crazy because I've been like editing stuff and doing visuals like back when Jerkin was alive.
Okay, shit.
Yeah.
Go back, yeah. No, shit.
Yeah. And so like it was like mediocre like jerk video, just me like doing it.
Yeah.
And then like over time I realized like, dang, like I really like doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And so then like I took it like when I turned 18 or 16, 17, and then 18 I took it seriously for real. I was like, okay, let's really do this. Let's really like
get this name done.
Yeah, let's do it for real. And it's crazy because Black Ruby is a fish, and nobody really asked me that before, like on camera.
Yeah.
Like Black Ruby is actually a fish that lives like in the bottom of the ocean. Like it's a beautiful fish.
Really?
But sometimes people just don't see its beauty.
Yeah.
And so like my company is just like bringing the beauty to things in dark places.
Nice. That's beautiful. That's well said.
Thank you.
In that moment, because I think like for me or like for Chris, right? When Chris figures out photography or figure out this is his thing, I think he take like one shot or two shots, and he knew like at that point, all right, yeah, this is what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like you remember specifically maybe a shoot or like the time whenever you got to that point, and you're like, yeah, this is what I'm at.
Yeah. Like where did like the spark of motivation come from?
Man, when I started working at like Ralph Lauren and Tanger Outlet, like when I was in high school, I was like, this is not for me.
That retail business, bro.
Like,
oh my God,
this ain't for me. Like, I can't do this. Like, And so, like, I knew, like, the spark was, I want whatever I do to make me happy.
Facts.
That was the spark. Like, that's what drove me, because so often people, like, get into these 9-to-5s and they hate it.
Yeah.
And then before they know it, they're there for, like, 30 years.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I doing with my life? And they
like,
wait till they're, like, 50 and really start living. But even if I gotta go broke, I will live.
Facts.
I will die like I lived, like, you know, like happy. And that's my goal, being happy. And so once I found like I wanted to do this, like no matter what people said, you know, I'm a strong believer in God. And so He said life in abundance. I don't want to live life in minimum wage.
Facts.
So even if I'm broke, my heart's gonna be happy doing what I do.
Exactly.
Right.
For real.
Facts.
So was it like I'm gonna quit my 9-to-5 like today? Like,
oh no. I mean,
it was just like, nah, I'm tired of this bullshit. Let me figure out how to use this to finesse my life.
well, it's crazy because I ran track for a long time. Yeah.
Hey, what events?
Yeah,
Sorry,
yeah,
what
yeah.
events?
Cool.
I did
we hear that.
100, 200, long and triple. I ran track for a long time, like from high
4x1
school.
and 100.
Oh yeah, 4 and 1 2. Yeah, it's crazy.
This man did hurdles.
110 hurdles, 4x8, 4x4. Coach had me and everything. 200.
Okay.
I was a backup in the 4x1. Long jump. He didn't let me pole vault though. I was like, bro, come on, like.
Hey, what's up? Like, I want to try this. Like, black dude pole.
Yeah.
Try to jump over it, man. Yeah. Get over it.
Right. Like, yeah, I did track, but that's another thing that tied into the eye-opening moment because. Like last year, probably like this time, I had knee surgery, and like track was just like done. Like I ran a 7.2 in the 60, 11.3 in the 100, 20'11" in long jump.
Yeah.
Like that was the path that I wanted to go towards.
You really was trying to get out there for USAA real quick.
She was jumping like me. Hold up, like she said my number real quick. Like.
And so I was like, when that was over, I was like, I gotta do something. Like, I gotta do something. Like. I was gonna go to graduate school, and that fell through. I was like, if this don't work, I'm gonna just follow my heart. This don't work, I'm gonna follow my heart. And so I just followed my heart, and now I'm here. And so it's just like, and before that, I think he was like trickling like little things, like you can do this moments into my life. Yeah. But I wasn't paying attention fully because I was like in between track.
Yeah.
And like,
he had to put you up against that wall.
Yeah. And so I had to do. What was y'all's moment though? Like. What made you think like, dang, I gotta do this? Like this is what I gotta do.
What was the shoot before Dreamville?
Ayla.
Because we were just doing Turbo. Well, yeah, Ayla. Yeah. Actually, yeah. So we worked with a girl at Forever 21 named Ayla. Shout out Ayla.
Ayla Art, bro. She's a real one.
But yeah, so we did a photo shoot with her. This was like the first. This was like kind of like the second one because we did one with Turbo. But like that one, I was getting like the good shot. Like everything that came into my head, I was like, all right, let me just go ahead and take the shot. Like let me see like what happens, like what comes out of the camera. So I was getting like some really good shots, and like then I knew, I was like, hold up, like I knew it was like beginner's luck, but I was like, hold on, like there might be something here. And then we went to Dreamville. Like that was like my first like real concert. Cause that was the first like actual concert that I went to with him and Jada and Tracy, our roommates. And then the photos there were just amazing. And then we were out at NC State. And then so we were just taking pictures on like in front of like a mural, like a cat mural. And like this whole crowd of people just pulled in, and I was like, "Is this happening?" Like I had one of those moments. I was like, "Yo, is this happening right now?" Like this really came about just because we got out of the car and had a camera out, and we got some really great shots in, and it's been part of my portfolio ever since. And I've actually got a job because of that portfolio too. So that's cool. It's like low key, like the pieces are like coming together. So
yeah, it's so weird, like.
Yeah. It just came out of nowhere. Like it was really like
it really
divine
is.
intervention.
Like, I swear, it's just like mind blowing when you like actually do like put yourself out there. Like this is all like Daniel. I love him. Shout out to our Daniel. Like I love him with a passion because he tells his story every day.
Danny Green, man, dog.
Yo, he is. He quit his job. Shoot, he was telling us how
he used to work at like I-Core call center like every day, 24/7. It's just like, bro, I can't do this.
He quit his job, and then he put it, this is all his stuff he put out. Like he lost his car at one point, but he was still doing it, like, and he just put everything on the line. He's just doing it, and he's like flourishing, and it's just like, but for him, like Daniel has always been that person that's like, I want to bring a group of people together, and I want to do it for us, and so he deserves it. Like all the stuff he's getting, like it's due. Like it's like shut up.
No, it's crazy.
Seeing the positivity and the love that if they do it and they really put their all into it, it does come back and show love. For me personally, I think like just when it came to B.I.T.E or wherever we were, I mean, I started a lot of this on my own just because, like, I'm the youngest of three. So, I'm just used to always being used to not
the
even...
youngest are like 4.
Oh, yeah. So, like, so you know the young, like, situation where it's like, it's cool, you either getting hand-me-downs or either you're spoiled, you might be spoiled, quote-unquote, but even though you might be spoiled, you're not necessarily getting hurt as much because everybody ahead of you, you know what I'm saying, already understands that. So, you know, I have a Nigerian family, so they're very, like, critiquing on, like, making sure you are on your shit, making sure your family is very important to us. If you can feed your family, then whatever you try to do is good. So hearing like you want to try to do music or do anything is not necessarily the best thing you're going to hear from your child about feeding. So I think for me it always was a fight and a struggle. Like you said, why am I doing this music? Why am I trying to push out? Why am I not necessarily listening to my parents and doing, you know, the typical doctor route or engineer route of an African, but taking this route. So with me, I feel like seeing people like Cinco when I came down to Charleston or even though I was in Citadel for 4 years, you know, not being able to go out on leave because you have certain regulations and certain military. It's just like taking those talents that God said and running it back and making sure that when you run it back, I want to make sure my talents come back 20 or 10. So
it's like a continuous spark for you?
Yeah. Because it's like, I think when it comes to B.I.T.E or it comes to like, when it comes to B.I.T E, it's just hard to say because, you know what I'm saying, it's not necessarily just music. It's going to be music, it's going to be photography, it's going to be film. So I think that's why I think building B.I.T E, anything came out of music, and that was where I wanted to do anything. I did choir, I did singing, I ran track, I did football and basketball. But
soccer.
Soccer. You know my life. So like I did soccer and all that. So like me doing all that, I was very athletic and competitive. And then something happened in 10th grade where I was out of chorus. So me being out of chorus in 10th grade really made me focus more on hip-hop and that music sound. So it was just like, I don't know, I just fell in love with Underground Kings and Kanye West Graduation all over again. And it just was from there. But each thing with photos or films, it just keeps building on itself on what I find I love. So
it's crazy. So what's the vision for B.I.T E? Like, what do you guys want to do? I know you say, you know, music, photos, you know, everything. What's your goal for B.I.T E to be in, like, not even a year from now? Because forget that, that's too small.
Too long. Yeah.
What about a month from now? Like, what's the things that you guys want to do? Put into the universe.
Man, for me, like, I know from my side, like, Chris is definitely more my partner than anything now. Like, us running B.I.T E, for me, even though it is my company or what it is, bro, this man is a partner and my brother more than anything. He's been there in the shortest years extent. So I feel like in the future, we want to go where helping community. Like, community is the biggest thing we would like to say or value. And that's going to be whether it's like making events in the community, building like building like either like studios or building certain facilities for people and children to come in and learn music and understand the education, so that if somebody wants to be an artist in South Carolina, they actually get that opportunity and that chance. I want to actually, for B.I.T E in the bigger picture, I guess, make a playing field for everybody to literally apply for the playing field. I feel like you can apply for an application for college, you can apply for an application to be in high school. Why can't you apply for one to be an artist? Necessarily do it on the record label. And I feel like if you actually show that you got what you need to take to have that craft, then let's go with it. So I think that's really my big plan, my big future, if anything, is just community and making sure that like everybody.
And then through those opportunities, they have the potential to feed themselves off of that.
Look, you want to hear your idea too.
I want to do, alright, so like broad scheme of just me personally, I want to do this thing called Doctors Without Borders, and it's kind of the same thing. Like, you go to different countries and you do like missionary work, and then you just help just countries in distress and like desolation basically. But like, I feel like you can help, you can like clean up a street, like you can do all this stuff, but then if you don't educate the people, or even not
keep it clean.
Yeah, like educate them and have like a held standard, then people will go from there and be able to feed themselves, feed their families, feed their friends. Give people the opportunity to go places and learn how to be an artist, learn how to do this, learn how to do that, and then being able to take that anywhere they go and have that apply anywhere. From
your viewpoints, the Charleston scene is ready for what you guys have to offer? And if not, how do you guys feel that you can start to develop a new way of thinking into the scene? Because, you know, I feel like every scene has a crab mentality.
Yeah.
But there's still success in those scenes.
Facts.
Right.
So how do you guys like plan on building that success, and how do you guys feel about where Charleston is now?
I feel like a lot of artists get salty. You know what I'm saying? When we understand it, like how it moves, how you have cliques or you might have groups. And I think personally for me as an artist, even growing and building, it's taking that time to understand that you got to play your part. You got to find where you can fit in. If you can't fit in, then you
and where you can touch people.
Exactly. So if you can't fit in, figure out who the people you can touch. If it's not necessarily the city for you, then you might need to move on. But in terms of Charleston, I think Charleston's ready more than anything. It has been ready. It just has to get to a point where we are collaborating as all influencers. And yet, like you said, like understand we all have different cliques, but getting together. Like we have people like Benny Starr, we have people like Walter Brown, Mount Mondays. We got like other artists like Drink First. We got Fern. We got Abstract. We got Soul and Soul Power downtown. We got a kid called Tyler White. This white kid is really fresh, straight. Like he got good lo-fi beat bars.
Just graduated.
Yeah, just graduated, man. Shout out to the man. Yeah, exactly. But he's working. Like he really working. Like where he got people playing his stuff in Russia. So like yeah. Wow. So like it's like we're really, I feel like a lot of artists and a lot of people here are working. It's just that we're working and grabbing everybody out from the outside world. So like Fern's music is kind of more France. Like he did a lot of his Nice part and all that project in France. So you're gonna have that international fact. So for us to actually succeed and do something better, I feel like it's taking that local mindset, but also taking it to global. Because if we understand that we're all local stars, we're all local, you know, kings and queens and God-gifted, blessed people in what we have. Taking that ability to collaborate and also find how to make that a global display to the people. That's what's gonna make Charleston work. And I feel like it's there more than anything. Give it 2 or 3 years, honestly.
And like in between those years, there are gonna be some people that you can't necessarily reach. But then that's when you just keep like beating on your craft, and then just leading by example, and then the people that want to come along with that will recognize, and then you just go from there, and then you just keep trying to be successful, keep trying to be positive, keep trying to go in the right direction, and then let go and let God, I guess. After that it's just like, all right, God, what you doing? What you got for me?
See you at the top.
What's your sound?
See, that's been a fight. I mean, like for me, like musically and artistly, I think I like bebop and more Afro soul and sound. So I think I'd be anything if we had to necessarily categorize it. I would be something in a new boom bap type Afro beat. But personally, I think like me as an artist, for me, is something we're moving to as artists is like not necessarily being defined in brackets, and it's weird. You know, people say they don't want to be defined in this, that, and third, but I think I sing and I rap. So I've done everything with working with R&B people to doing indie music myself, to doing hip hop music, to even singing country music on the low. So like it gets to a point where I feel like rapping is a heart of me, hip hop is definitely a heart of me, bebop, all that, the classic and the history, everything behind it makes me love the game for more than anything. But like right now I'm definitely at a point where I'm trying to define myself as just the person.